I promise that the college you go to really doesn't matter, and here's why. I think that the first question we need to consider is, what is the point of going to college in the first place? Well, I think that for most people, it's to pursue a higher education and also get to explore and a time to find yourself, who you are, what you truly want to do, and kind of have more direction in terms of the career path that you're hoping to go down towards. You're essentially just trying to learn more about what you don't already know, right? You're trying to take these courses that are going to help educate yourself on a specific area of interest, on a specific subject that you want to learn more about, or you're there for the degree to get a better job, to get a better life. And I think that given that that is the main reason that we go to college in the first place, and also the social aspect, obviously, then really in the long run, like, we're receiving a higher education regardless of what college we go to. And I think sometimes it can be really hard to forget that because we get so fixated on the name or the prestige or the label that's associated with certain colleges. We assume that we're definitely going to get the better bang for our buck if we go to those colleges. But I think what we fail to realize sometimes, and what I fail to realize, is that really higher education is higher education regardless of where you receive it. And I know that some people may have different thoughts on this, and that is actually our next point. Obviously, some people will say that if you go to a better school, a better college, they're going to have more resources for you, they're going to have better professors, you're going to be able to learn better because the professors there are better known for what they do and are assumed to be more skilled and such, and provide you with a better explanation of the subject that you're trying to get a better grasp of. And while I do believe that is true to some degree, like obviously there are going to be colleges like Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, and even more that have lots of resources for their students and may have more connections in that sense and be able to provide you with more opportunities from some perspective. But I think you also have to think of it like this. More likely than not, a professor at a top school would be more likely to be able to teach the material better than one at a more mid-rank school or low-rank school. And that's because they're in that position most likely because they have an exceptional amount of merit that has granted them that honor and that privilege to be teaching at a top-tier university. But at the same time, I think that just because your professor, like if you go to just like an average school, then I think that really you can still get a great education. Like even if your professor isn't teaching the subject material as well, if you put in the effort yourself and you go and seek out those resources and take the extra time and take the extra step to go and further your education and further your knowledge of the material that's being taught, even if the professor isn't doing a great job, you can still find ways to really like sharpen your knowledge of that subject area even without an amazing professor. And in fact, I actually think that experience might make you even more independent and capable because you're in a situation where you might not be given the best resources or the best kind of learning environment, but you're still able to reap the benefits that are available to you exteriorly, maybe not in your university, but going out and trying to find those resources and trying to find those opportunities and those learning pathways that aren't presented to you on a silver platter. I think that experience within itself is definitely very valuable. And it's not to say that obviously if you go to a high top tier university, it's great that you're already getting that amazing education. But at the same time, I do think that there are benefits in learning how to go and seek out information yourself and being kind of proactive in that sense and not waiting or blaming your lack of education on not being presented to, on having like bad professors and stuff. Because I truly think that like even if you have a not so great professor, that's not a make or break deal in terms of allowing you to pursue higher education, because there are so many resources online and so many different ways that you can go and grasp that material. The truth is, no matter where you go to college, your success depends less on where you study and more on how you learn. And the great thing is, we have access to more resources than ever before. Take Brilliant, for example, the sponsor of today's video. Brilliant is an interactive learning platform that helps you master subjects like calculus, Python, and more, all through hands-on engaging lessons. If you've ever had a professor who doesn't explain things well, or you find yourself stuck staring at a confusing textbook, Brilliant makes complex topics way more intuitive. For example, if you're struggling with calculus, Brilliant's interactive visualizations actually show you what's happening behind the equations, making concepts click in a way that traditional lectures sometimes don't. And if you're looking to learn Python, Brilliant's courses guide you through the process by presenting interactive challenges. You don't just memorize lines of code. You select the correct lines to accomplish a task, building your understanding step by step. It's an engaging, hands-on way to learn programming without needing to figure everything out on your own. So whether you're filling in gaps from class, getting ahead, or just love learning, Brilliant is an amazing tool to have. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/evang/ scan the QR code on the screen, or click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription if you choose to continue after the 30-day free trial. Thank you so much to Brilliant for sponsoring this video and for making high-quality interactive learning accessible to everyone. And it shouldn't be an excuse as to saying like,
oh, I go to this school and the professors are just really bad and I just really don't like the classes because they're not engaging and so I can't learn anything and so I really wish that I could have gotten into this better university.
Even just thinking about it like before you're in university, if you're waiting for college decisions or you're planning on going to college at some point in the future and are just thinking about what colleges you want to go to, I think it's also important to remember that, hey, just because you don't go to this amazing prestigious college, or if you don't get accepted into your dream school, that's definitely not going to hinder your ability to get a great education and propel yourself in life in general. Because really, once again, the fundamental content is the same that they're teaching, like regardless if you're learning economics at Harvard or economics at UTD, like the material is going to be very similar. The textbooks are going to be very similar, the content, because they're all drawing from content and knowledge that's already been previously gathered, obviously, unless you're doing like research-based stuff. But I think that because that fundamental concept is there and you know what you're studying, you can again take advantage of the internet and the resources available out there, and seeking it. The college that you go to really doesn't matter in terms of receiving a great education, because regardless of where you go, you can still receive a good education in terms of your proactiveness. A big part of college is developing the skills that you'll need in the future, and I think that regardless of what college you go to, you can still independently develop those skills and become a better student and a better person. And another thing that I didn't really realize before going to college was like, when you're actually in college, I feel like you're so preoccupied with doing well in your classes, joining all these clubs, socializing, making friends, just kind of exploring the campus, that you like honestly forget like what college you're going to at sometimes. Like I'm just like,
oh, I go to Peking University, what?
And it's just kind of like, when you're actually in college, it's not like you're constantly like, for example, let's say you go to Stanford. When you're actually at Stanford, it's not like you're going to be constantly thinking to yourself,
oh my gosh, I go to Stanford, I'm so cool, I'm so awesome, like I'm feeling so proud of myself right now.
Like obviously that's going to be like an inherent feeling at the back of your brain, but I think that any college campus has so much to offer, and so in that sense you're going to be so like busy with trying to explore the things on your campus that you're not going to be so fixated on the prestige or how highly ranked your school is and such like that. Because I think that really it's not the number that makes the college special, it's the people and the experience that you get in college that I think really sets it apart from other chapters of your life. And I feel like for me, for example, when I first got to Peking University, there were just so many different things that I needed to do and needed to learn, and I was meeting so many new people, looking at so many different clubs, and even when we got into classes, I just kind of like started getting into grind mode and trying to figure out what was the best way to study, how to like improve my time management skills and such, and just going to class day to day, making sure I was on time, making sure I was getting assignments completed, making sure that I was also taking time for myself to enjoy college life. I think all throughout that process, and just like as I was walking the halls, sometimes I just found myself thinking like, it doesn't really matter that I'm not actively thinking about how I'm at China's top uni or anything like that, and I don't think it really makes a difference in how I approach my learning and how I approach taking my classes and my education and pursuing that knowledge. Like I don't think it would honestly make a difference if I went to China's top uni, or if I went to a regular university in China, or if I just went to university in the US. I think that really it's just like your university, regardless of where you go, is going to have so many things to offer. And I think that when you're actually there, like I know that if you're like if you're watching this and you're in the middle of applying to colleges, or you've already applied and you've gotten some decisions back, or you're going to apply and such, and you're just like constantly worried about being rejected, or you have been rejected and such, and you're like,
dang, I really wish I got into this college, or oh, I don't really want to go to this school because it's not as highly ranked, or it's not what I would ideally want in my college.
I really think that when you're not actually at the college campus, it's really hard to like picture, or really, it's really hard to gauge what college life is going to be like, and it's often not really what you expect. And I think that you are going to be so like busy with other things, that prestige and how great your college is ranked, and whatever your dream college was, if you didn't get accepted into that, like it's not going to matter. And if you did get accepted into your dream college, that's great as well. But I think it's just, we don't need to spend, like, I know it's really hard in the moment, but I think that if you just take a step back, just there are so many things that you can do in college, and so it's just a completely different stage in your life. And so the college that you go to doesn't matter really. It really truly is how you approach like your learning, and how you approach every day while you're at that college, and how you approach life in general, I suppose, and how whether or not you're able to keep on track of things and build up those habits and build up those experiences that will benefit you down the road, regardless of what you decide to do in the future. I really hope that makes sense, and I know that sometimes it can be easier to say when you're actually experiencing it. I promise that like really when I was at beta, I was just really trying to do great in my classes, and the school that I was going to, and whether it was ranked highly, was at the back of my mind, at the back burner. And I just really think it's important to realize that, even when it may be hard. In terms of like socializing and stuff, I think that friends is obviously a big thing in college, and regardless of where you go to university, I feel like as long as you're willing to put yourself out there, then you're going to be able to make friends, and you're going to be able to find a community that is best suited for what you want in a community, and for friends and people that support you. So really, whether you go to a top uni or an average uni, it really doesn't matter, because you're going to be able to find your community regardless, if you're willing to put in the effort. And I think at the end of the day, it's really what I'm trying to get at is, it's really up to you and not the university you go to. It's really up to what you make of the experience. And I know this isn't going to sound very cliche, but I really do think that it's extremely true. Obviously, I'm not completely saying that the college you go to doesn't matter at all to the rest of the world, I suppose you could say, to exterior factors or people or things. For example, like when you're looking for job opportunities, or when you're applying for graduate school, medical school, law school, sometimes the university that you go to will be factored in, but I genuinely don't think that it's going to be what determines whether or not you are accepted into whatever program you're applying to or whatever job you're seeking for, because there are plenty of people out there that go to these quote-unquote average schools, and they're still able to do great in life and still able to find amazing jobs. And I think it's your work ethic and whether or not you're seeking out opportunities to better yourself as an individual and making yourself an asset to yourself and also to the rest of society. And people will be able to see that. And it's not like the college you go to is going to be plastered on your face or anything like that. It's really what kind of person you are, and when people are talking to you, when people are getting to know you, looking at your application, looking at what you've done, that is what's really going to stick with them, not the college that you go to. And I think that if for whatever reason there is an internship or there is a program that doesn't accept you, or maybe just really wants students that went to higher ranked schools, or for some reason that did play a factor into it, I think that's something that you can't really control. But what you can control is how you take advantage of your opportunities and how you enjoy your college experience, and no one can take that away from you. You are in full control of that, unless of course some crazy thing happens. But in most situations, I think that what you do is most important, and how you take the steps to move forward in your life and become a better person is what really makes the difference at the end of the day, not the college that you go to. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. If you'd like more content like this, or would like to follow my journey as a Peking University student majoring in finance, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.